Trust me when I say there's an online tutorial for everything these days, like how to boil an egg, how to solve a Rubik's Cube, and even how to turn on a light switch. But just because some of them look like they were easy to make, doesn't mean they always go to plan. From hair bleaching gone bad, to TikTok how-tos that have ended in literal tears, it's time to sit back and laugh at even more tutorials gone hilariously wrong. Wannabe chefs regularly take to YouTube and TikTok to provide people, like me, who just shouldn't be allowed in the kitchen, with easy-to-follow walkthroughs of how to make the basics. But when TikTok creator Millie tried to film herself making what should have been a delicious vegan green curry, this happened. Okay, well, no, it's not because it's too hot. It's because Millie put ceramic ovenware on top of a stove. I'm guessing Millie was trying to make this curry in a pot that looked pretty for the camera, but ceramics and stoves do not mix well, no matter what filter you use. Ovenware like this is designed to heat up gradually as a unit, so the entire thing can expand together. But placing it over an open flame or heat element means one part of it expands much faster than the rest, often forcing it to shatter. Who'd have thought it was called ovenware for a reason? Oh, I do love me some gnocchi. This classic potato dumpling pasta is delicious no matter what you serve it with. It's almost impossible to mess it up. Well, at least I thought it was until I saw Webstaurant Store's fried gnocchi tutorial. It starts off well, with host Steve explaining he wants to try deep frying fresh gnocchi for the first time. He drops the gnocchi in and realizes quickly something isn't quite right. Inexplicably, the gnocchi are popping.
I'm gonna go ahead and turn this heat up a little bit. Whoa. Okay, they made a little popping noise.
So, he tried again with another batch, but for some reason he thought he could combat the popping problem by turning the heat up.
This is the second batch I'm doing, and the first batch popped. But I'm doing these a little higher heat, and I'm thinking that this will be better.
And then, suddenly, all hell broke loose. Who knew you could serve gnocchi with a side of utterly maniacal laughter? What exactly happened here? Well, the moisture inside the gnocchi heated up quickly, turning to steam and increasing the pressure inside each little pasta piece. When this became too much for the gnocchi structure to handle, the steam burst out violently, making the gnocchi more like popcorn than pasta. Well, it might not have gone how Steve expected, but at least he taught us a valuable lesson. Don't deep fry your gnocchi. Now, if we're roasting cooking tutorials, I can't not mention the wonder that is Kay's cooking. This bizarre British chef films tutorials of herself making some of the most cursed-looking food in existence. I mean, it's so bad that when I've critiqued her in previous videos for serving raw rice and uncooked pasta, I've nearly had a breakdown. But believe it or not, it's her cheesecake tutorial that really sent me over the edge. She starts off promisingly with a classic cheesecake base of broken cookies, or biscuits as Kay and her fellow Brits call them, and margarine in a bowl. She's going to crush those biscuits and margarine down, right, into a nice, normal, crumbly biscuit base, right? Like hell she is.
See, all the biscuits have broken up. Oh, they broke up.
Why, oh God, why does it look like baked beans? Apparently following a recipe designed by Satan himself, Kay put the bowl on a hot stove, melting the margarine and chunks of biscuits into soggy submission.
I'm going to let it cool because it's still a bit hot and I don't want to put anything on top of it because it might just go wrong.
Oh boy, if your cheesecake base is that hot, you've already gone wrong. After letting it cool, Kay then adds, I can't even.
Just a load of cream going on it.
Just cream. Just a load of cream. Yeah, not the blended basic cream cheese and sugar topping, just a load of cream. Okay, I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt and assume she meant cream cheese. Either way, I'm broken, guys. But Kay seems to like it. That at least makes one of us. Hey, if there are any British people watching, can you confirm for me that this isn't how most of you actually cook? If it isn't, hit that subscribe button, but if it is, hit that like button. All right, while that little poll is stewing, what have we got next? TikTok is the perfect platform for aspiring makeup artists to show off their bold looks with fun video effects. Some even go a step further, letting their viewers see the individual steps of the creation process. But creators like Angelica Isabel, who's pulled together incredible looks like this, knows that not every step always goes to plan. Seems she added a little bit too much water to that water-based face paint. Well, luckily, the final result looked a lot better than it tasted. But that's not the only way these TikTorials can go wrong. Sybil Adigan decided to not only display this absolute heartbreaker of a look on TikTok, but also wanted to show her audience how she removed the makeup. After applying plenty of product and scrubbing it thoroughly, she suddenly realized the huge pink heart outline on her face wasn't budging. No matter how many washcloths she used, that heart wasn't going anywhere. Now, purple and pink makeup shades are notorious for staining the skin. Many of these products contain large amounts of pigment, which is great for the color, but as Sybil learned, they can be tough to remove completely. If you ever find yourself in Sybil's predicament, though, your best friend will be a tub of petroleum jelly, like Vaseline. Because it's petroleum-based, the jelly gently dissolves most types of makeup without the need for vigorous scrubbing. So if you're ever feeling creative enough to try painting a big pink heart on your face using makeup, make sure you have a tub of Vaseline at the ready, just in case. Now, it's not just bold makeup tutorials that thrive on TikTok. Creator Sage realized it might be the perfect place to showcase her subtle yet fancy wedding makeup tutorial. She walked her audience through all the steps from applying her base to meticulously brushing on a pretty pink eye. She then used a little setting spray to keep the makeup in place, but that's when this tutorial went downhill.
Oh my god. That setting spray, what the f did it just do to me? Can you see them? What are these white dots? What are they? What brand is that?
Ooh, not exactly the subtle look she was going for, and definitely not subtle for the wedding she was about to attend. She tried her best to fix the strange, speckled effect, but it didn't quite work.
This. Oh no, my eye. I'm trying so hard not to cry right now.
No, don't cry. That'll just make it worse. Well, for all the makeup wearers out there who want to avoid looking like they've lost a battle with a can of whipped cream, let's take a look at the key culprit here. That's setting spray. This is the About Face Matte Fix Priming and Setting Spray, the instructions of which tell users to shake vigorously before using. This is because the matting agents in the ingredients can clump together, leaving those telltale white dots on the skin. So, sadly for Sage, forgetting to shake the bottle cost her her look, which she later realized in another video where she tried it again. So, a word of warning to all the wannabe makeup gurus out there, always shake your setting spray, unless you're trying out a weird reverse fake freckle trend. Well, it wouldn't be a failed tutorial video if I didn't include somebody trying and failing to cut their own bangs. Yep, never gets old. And people are finding ever new ways of not cutting their new bangs in gradually by chopping away increments of hair at a time. Instead, they go all in, like Pau Cartagena did. And, as she's about to demonstrate, it almost never ends well. Yeah, twisting the section of hair like Pau does here is great for bunching the hair together, but it also means you can't see the end of the hair, which has left Pau's bangs a little lopsided. Remember guys, cut in increments. Increments. Maybe I should have said that louder so Chia here could have heard me. Back in 2018, at 11 p.m. at night, this YouTuber had the bright idea to give herself a cute set of bangs. To her credit, she decided to sleep on it and see if she still wanted to go through with it in the morning. Because we all know no good decisions are made past 9 p.m. The next morning, before school, she parted her hair, debated going through with it, and then made the crucial mistake of tugging her hair down before committing the cut. Now, that is a face that screams instant regret. Chia's hair has a lot of bounce to it, so pulling it down before making the cut made her think that she was making her cut further down her hair, and she really was. To make matters worse, because of her hair's natural texture, the new bangs then refused to lay flat. Chia tried to style them out, but ultimately came to the only conclusion.
So I've come to the verdict that I don't look very good with bangs.
At least she eventually saw the funny side of it.
Look at it. This is so bad.
Well, she's not the only wannabe hairdresser out there who's made mistakes on camera. And proof of that comes from our next very charismatic tutorial host. Though young, he'd recently cut his dad's hair, and so decided he was qualified enough to host a tutorial of him cutting his own hair on camera. But, see if you can spot what's wrong.
So what I have is Joe get a box, and it's for my dad, but I don't want him to know that I'm using it, so...
Aw, bud, there's no clip guard attached to that shaver. Clip guards are small plastic combs that snap into electric shavers, preventing barbers from trimming the hair down below a certain length. Without them, you're heading to Buzzcut City, as our tutorial guide here quickly found out.
Let's get started. Oh my god, I'm gonna be the funniest kid on the planet. Well, it doesn't look that bad.
Way to style it out, kid. What I wouldn't give for confidence like that, especially as he ended up walking around like this. While accidentally taking a chunk out of your hair can be mortifying, Izzy Rose discovered that showing the world your step-by-step boxed bleach and dye job can go even further south. She decided to bleach the front section of her hair using a blonde box dye kit.
I'm thinking this will work, hopefully.
The only problem was that her hair had been repeatedly dyed black for many years. Now, repeated use of darker dyes builds up in the hair over time, but the roots don't see as many layers, so their color can be lifted with bleach much more easily. However, Izzy assumed one bleach treatment would be enough to lift her roots and the lengths of her hair.
Basically, I'm currently in the bath on my second bleach because the first one didn't do anything. I'm gonna actually cry.
So maybe a second application of bleach will have done the trick.
Nah, it's fine. I knew this was gonna happen anyway. Like I knew. One thing I will say though, part 2 will be up in the morning.
Well, that's a look. The bleach just wasn't strong enough to lift all the layers of dye from the lengths of hair, leaving her with bright yellow and orange roots and dark brown drapes. But she wasn't fazed and assumed that dyeing over the section with dark blue dye would cover up her mistakes.
I have work in 2 hours. We wait again.
Why she decided to do this 2 hours before going to work, I'll never know. If you're going to try and lighten years of dark box dye, you'll need multiple bleach treatments spread over several weeks at least to achieve the lightness you want without totally destroying your hair. Even if you want results faster, don't even think about just packing on a ton of bleach and leaving it to develop for too long. Otherwise, you might find yourself in this situation. Yikes. Stark reminder that bleach actively damages your hair as it lightens it. It penetrates the hair cortex and dissolves the natural melanin, the pigment giving the hair its color. While making the hair itself more porous and elastic, if left for too long, It can melt the hair entirely.
What should I do? I didn't brush it. What do I do?
If you're active on YouTube and TikTok, then you've probably heard of a creator called Sebastian Bales. This influencer is pretty prolific, with almost 13 million followers on TikTok and nearly 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and more than 340,000 followers on Instagram. He makes content that explores just about everything a lifestyle influencer can, from vanity shots to beauty products and weird challenges. However, in one TikTok where he was demonstrating how he uses his wet-to-dry hair straightener, things took a hot turn. Literally.
I'm freaking out. There's literally a fire in my... Oh my god! What do I do?
Let's walk this back a few seconds. So he realized his heated hair curler had set fire to the plastic toilet lid, and his first reaction wasn't to put the fire out, but to grab his phone and record it. Influencers. Well, at least he eventually thought to put it out with his... Is that an energy drink? Okay, well... Top tip, guys, don't leave heating implements on plastic surfaces, and if you do set something alight, put the fire out immediately. Don't run to TikTok for help. Sometimes when you undertake a big DIY project, you want to document all the steps so you can compare how something looked before to the improvements made after. But it doesn't always go to plan, as Dana, the ADHD DIYer, showed the world. They wanted to paint the bottom portion of their room with a spray gun, and so set about covering and taping the portion of the wall they didn't want to get paint on with paper. Smart move. Except, they didn't tape all the way up the white walls, and the spray from the paint gun reached a little further than they expected. Oops. Usually if you're using aerosolized paint like this, you need plenty of ventilation in a space to stop paint particles from flying through the air and landing where you don't want them to. If you can't get ventilation, you should tape off everything. And I mean everything that you don't want stained with paint. But this is a mistake every DIY doer can learn from. So hey, thanks for that, Dana. Have you ever had or heard of matcha before? It's a kind of high-quality green tea which can be used to flavor all kinds of stuff, like candy and coffee. Personally, I like it, but TikTok creator Cheryl likes it so much she tried to film a tutorial of herself making an oat milk matcha latte. She combined the matcha powder with water in a mason jar and put it in the microwave. But when she went to whisk the mixture, this happened. Looks like she bottomed out. Now, while most mason jars are microwave safe, there are so many different types that it can be hard to know for sure. If there isn't a specific label on it that says it's safe for microwaving, don't do it, because the heated glass might expand too quickly, resulting in more serious cracks than Cheryl's. And while I might like me a matcha latte, it ain't worth picking up shattered glass for. Now, if you watched part 1 of this series, you might remember Naomi John, who placed hundreds of semi-permanent freckles on her face. But the final result looked a little, bolder than she expected. Well, it turns out she's not the only one who'd struggled getting fake freckles right. Over on TikTok, hundreds of creators have filmed mini tutorials detailing how to get the fake freckle look using a root spray, a kind of non-permanent hair coloring solution in a spray can. You only need a very light touch to get the right amount of spray to create the fake freckle effect. But TikTok duo the Beckerman twins didn't seem to get the memo. A little bit too hard there. Maybe they'll go a little bit lighter when they try again. If anything, that was harder. Well, maybe it's not them. Perhaps they just had a dud bottle. So they tried a different color can and... Nope, they're pressing down too hard. But it'd take more than that to stop them from trying again. How are they getting worse with practice? Well, at least unlike Naomi's, this will wash off. Now, not all tutorials are so easy to clean up, as TikTok creator Whitney discovered.
Whitney wanted to microblade her eyebrows, which is a procedure involving tiny needles that draw delicate hairline strokes while depositing pigment under the skin. Sort of like a tattoo, but for creating fine hair-like effect. However, the treatment isn't cheap and can cost up to $2,000 for one treatment. So, Whitney decided to order a DIY microblading kit off Amazon and do it herself. She measured out her eyebrow outline and then, without applying any numbing cream, got to work, finding out it was a little more painful than she expected.
Ow!
After finishing the first eyebrow, she moved on to the second, and that's when the chaos really began.
Do I just cancel all my social plans for the next few months right now? Oh, I just got dye on my... Ah!
Followed by cleaning up the dye using, of all things, a spit wash.
No. How to get this off? Can I just wipe it?
And then, when everything was finally done, a hilarious realization.
They're different shapes, aren't they? Yeah, they are.
Well, it might not have been a great tutorial, but it was certainly a lesson in why you should pay a professional to do it for you. In my opinion, it's never too early to start preparing for Halloween. Costumes, candy, and plenty of fake blood, ooh. But if you've left it too late and there's no fake blood left in any of the stores, don't worry. TikTok creator Kaylee Meeks has a tutorial on how to make fake blood with a few common household items: lipstick, petroleum jelly, and eyeliner. Just heat the mixture up on the stove, melt it down, and in a few minutes you'll have, a blood clot? Well, I'm not entirely sure what the vein of thinking was here. When out of contact with heat, these liquid ingredients just revert to their solid form. If you want realistic-looking fake blood, you're better off using already liquid components, like corn syrup mixed with a little red dye for good color and consistency. Otherwise, you'll just end up with a big, bloody mess. Now, to all the TikTok teens out there, before I show you this next terrible tutorial, I need you all to promise not to try this at home, okay? I mean, it's so dumb, I have no idea why anyone would, but here we are. At this moment, there is a TikTok makeup trend which involves putting liquid eyeliner in your eyes. So, most liquid eyeliners are safe to use around your eyes, but it's definitely not safe to go shoving liquids into your corneas for the sake of a video, which, hey, let's be honest, looks pretty dumb. And it doesn't just look painful, as several TikTok creators have discovered, like Julia Valenti here. Yeah, ow. Who'd have thought putting a thick black liquid in your eyes would sting? While most eyeliners have been tested extensively to ensure the formula is safe to use around the eye, they still contain thickening agents. These are waxes, natural gums, and sometimes clay, which help the formula adhere to the skin around the eye where it's meant to sit. And you want to shove that in your eye? Well, if the pain isn't enough to stop you from trying this, think about the bacteria on the end of that brush that you're also throwing straight into your eyeball. It's called eyeliner, not eyeballer, for a reason. Hey, which of these tutorials did you think was the funniest? And have you ever tried to make a tutorial yourself that's gone wrong? Let me know down in the comments below, and thanks for watching.